Hello, everybody. It's Sally here in this time of chaos, cataclysms, and confusion to help people come back to the oneness within themselves, with each other, and with the all. I run a group called 1111 Power of One because I was working in 2016, much like many of us. Let me just change my Wi-Fi again. One moment. Okay. So welcome to another little chat with an ice cream interlude. This one is about light and sound, man and woman. Which one came first? Sometimes we think it's like the chicken and the egg. Man needs woman to make babies. Woman needs man to make babies. But the question is, which one did come first? So, okay, so let me just sort my phone out a minute. How are you feeling today? How are you? How are the energies out there? How are you feeling in your heart? So we'll do a quick tune in, and then Gilles is coming on so that we can speak about light and sound, because Gilles and I have been talking a lot about the 11th and the 12th, 10, 11, 12th dimension and how to exit this matrix through the eye of the needle. And we've been talking about that for some time. If you want to drop a comment in, add to the chat, that's all good. I'm just going to check that Gilles has got the link and he can hear me. So what we're talking about today is the difference, as I said, between the light and sound, because why is it important? Which one came first? Well, because we are in a descending matrix. And if we want to jump across to an ascending matrix, we have to understand that we are in the reverse now and that we have to completely shift, which is what's known as the pole shift. And I think people are not really aware of that. But this is sort of reasons why there has to be a sudden and supernatural event in order to shift us over from the negative direction to a positive direction. And whether you want to buy into that is up to you. Take everything that I say inwards, go into the Holy Spirit, meditate on it, and make up your own mind. Because everyone outside yourself, as I always say, is a false prophet. So that's why it's very important to go within and to see what resonates with your own soul, because what we're doing at this time is becoming one with our soul, in alignment with our soul. And our soul, when it is anointed and Christed in the highest realm, 11, 12 dimensions, is at one with the Father. So our Father in heaven. Let's just start then with a tune in. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Our Father, who art in heaven, may thy name remain holy. I am strong, I am loved, I am valued, I am heard, I am seen. I am a powerhouse, I am a leader, I am to others, I am a light, I am significant, I am a help in the world, I am love. All good things. May thy name remain holy. May thy kingdom come. What we see, we visualize, we imagine, we create. Imagination is image in action. What we see, what we imagine, we create. May thy will be done. What we speak, our will over our life, over others, over the planet, will be done as on earth, in this illusional realm, as in heaven, in the higher realms, where everything is created by our Creator. Thank you this day for our daily bread. That is all spiritual manna or information that we take in through the heart, through heaven's eyes, so that we can go within and see what resonates with us. Take the messages, acknowledge what's coming in, accept and ask what we can do about it. Give us, forgive us our actions against others and their actions against us. Self-explanatory, solar plexus, power and action. Lead us not to hard testing, sacral chakra, but deliver us from the evil one, root chakra. And so it is, so it is, so it is. reason why we say Amen, as many people have found, is because of the god Amun, who was 12th dimensional God in the time of Egypt. So I'm trying to find the Zoom screen, and that means that I can share. Oh, there he is. Sorry, I couldn't see it. So let me just go to the map and explain just briefly and quickly the 12 levels, 12 dimensions. This is what we're talking about today. Gilles and I are going to be talking about levels 10, 11, 12, because 11 is the light, 10 is the light, 11 is the sound, and 12 is the sound and light together, which make the universal Holy Spirit, which is otherwise known as a key that looks like this. It's the solar cross, because it has a masculine and a feminine, and that's Atlantis holding it up there on his shoulders. And it's the fleur de lis, which is above that, which is the threefold flame here. And that's outside the matrix. So here we go, level 12. That's how we get out of the matrix, through the eye of the needle, masculine, feminine, and solar Christos, Sophia. That gives us oneness. So which one came first? Well, you can see if we started at level 12 here in the time of after the Ice Age, 10,000, 8,000 BC, the time of Leo, Amun-Ra, we fell into the feminine, Cancer, under the moon, and then we fell again into Mercury under Gemini. And that's where it all started going wrong, because the feminine and the masculine separated into two. And of course, in 12D, it wasn't the correct masculine feminine energies anyway, because the woman was made from Adam's rib, which meant that she was a feminine masculine. Does that make sense? This is resonating with you, let me know. We're here to talk about the light and sound. We know that this is a descending timeline. It's going downwards from 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, under the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Neptune, Jupiter, which is where we are now in Pisces. And we're soon going to jump across when we get to this, which I've showed before. This is what we're going to talk about today. When we get to this, when we get to this point here, and this is the event, and we jump across to the positive spiral. We're actually going to talk about whether it should be Leo, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, Pisces, if you've noticed that goes backwards, whether it should go Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Leo, Virgo, because that's still backwards. And I have a feeling that everything is inverted in this realm. Even the clocks go the wrong way. We should be not going clockwise towards the right, but we should go anti-clockwise towards the left. Why? Because this is the feminine here and masculine, and clearly the feminine, according to where we've come from, came first, and therefore we're talking about light and sound, which one comes first. So with that, let's get rid of that screen and let's have a chat with Gilles. Here he is. I don't know how to put the screen on so that we're both on together, but we'll figure that one out. So hello, can you hear me? Can I hear you? Are you muted? Do you want to unmute yourself? Let me see how we can do that. It's all right. You can talk as much as you like. We can't hear you. So let's just see how can we unmute? Oh, there we go. Doesn't say there. Chat stop pin make host. Okay. Yeah, no sound. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can see on my Facebook that it's just me that's showing on there. So that's okay. We'll just have a little bit of patience. He's just gone off and he's going to come back in again. That's all right. We will have patience and we'll see what happens. If anybody's watching, you can comment and sing along with me. We'll do a little Sally sing song. So let's see. Usually when we have Zooms, there's a little box in the right hand side that says that people can speak. Okay, so we'll wait until Giles comes back in. So that's really what we wanted to talk about today, was the feminine is the sound, the vibration, the Buddha Christos, the vibration, the movement, and the fact that the masculine is the light, the direction, the sword that goes downwards, whereas the feminine is the chalice that goes across. And so we have the solar cross in this way and the circle all the way around. Let's try again and see what happens. So if you start speaking, it should switch to you, ideally, on the Facebook thing. It's okay. We just have to do some entertainment in between. So I cut that 3-hour video that I did the other day down to 2-hour video. I tried to cut it down like to a 50-minute video, but I ended up cutting it down to 2 hours instead of 3, because there's so much to say. I'm just looking on here to see if there's anywhere I can change it. Okay, one moment. It says here, participant can chat with everyone and anyone. So it should just be a matter of, is the mute on the left at the bottom there? There's a button with the volume on. Does that say mute, or does it say that you can speak? I'm supposed to lip read. It's funny, isn't it? Well, he's doing a silent laughter, which is, oh yeah, we'll get this sorted. Well, it doesn't matter how, we've got all the time in the world. It's Saturday. We're on the day of rest. Let me use your phone. Go on, then use your phone. See how that goes. So Giles is going to see if he can use his phone. Let's see if that's any different. Think it will be a good conversation. He is, I think, has spent most of his life on the spiritual path and understands many different ideas and concepts, and is, beyond the 12 Ds and 13, 14, 15 and beyond, expanded out from the idea of religion and the idea of, separatism and mind control. So that's what we're all doing here at the moment. Twin flames are here now. There's people who have shot through their crown chakras and into their soul star and up into the 10th, 11th, 12th dimension, and have guidance here now to share those revelations and the information that comes from the other side, where we react. When I say the other side, I mean our DNA, our memories coming back and being reactivated so that we remember who we are once we have gone past the frequency fences. We were shut down, and we are now being given back our memories. Our DNA is being activated. We remember our past lives, previous timelines, and we're remembering the truth of the fall, what happened, how we got here, and why we're waking up at this time. Through this ascension, through this awakening, this transformation and this ascension process, we are awakening to share the information with others so that when they go through their awakening, it won't be so horrendous. I have to say, my awakening was pretty horrendous. And I've been awakening, I've been pretty much awake all my life, but then you go to sleep again, and then you wake up again. And so in 2016, well, it started in 2012, actually. That's 2013. I started that master empowerment coach, then met my twin flame then. And then we kind of didn't know who each other were right then. But although I did have telepathy when I first met him. But anyway, it's about the two energies within you and how they come together, the masculine and feminine energy. However, people say about twin flames, whether we are actually there is just one, or whether there are many, because we have many mirror souls and soul flames. But I personally know that this particular person I have very, very strong connection with, in that I can see what he's up to. I don't know if he minds that. Does not really my intention. It just comes to me. His higher self comes to me and says, please, can you send me in 3D this song? And so I send him the song and explains what is going on in his life. And I'm like, okay. So it's I do that anyway. Unconditionally loving, freedom for him to do what he wants to do. And yeah, I think we're just helping each other. He helps me in my physical life, because he's so grounded, and that's the masculine, isn't it? It's the grounding of the sword into the ground. The sword goes into the ground, and the feminine is the line across, and she's the one like the chalice who receives the downloads and the light codes, and the masculine grounds it into the earth. So together, when they come together energetically and when they come together physically, they're like powerhouses, a power couple. And that's the reason why we're being kept apart by this masculine, descending, patriarchal father master programmer who does not want the twin flames to come together, which is why the Twin Towers were burned down or blown up by the trumpet technology. And why we've been attacked spiritually so much and kept apart by the occult practices of magic, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it, sorcery. It's been happening for thousands and thousands of years. Because what would happen if masculine and feminine were absolutely equally balanced? We'd have sacred marriages, and we'd have beauty, and we'd have wonder on the earth, and therefore the inverted matrix, the phantom matrix, would just fall apart, because we'd be living above 5D. We'd be helping people to resurrect themselves into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12D. And when you've got a bunch of 12D people walking around with their resurrection codes, knowing who they are, knowing that they can do telepathy by location, raise people from the dead, heal people, you don't need to be governed by a patriarchal overlord anymore. So we are free. This is freedom codes. Let's see. So I'm doing quite a good job of keeping people entertained in the meantime, aren't I, Giles? Let's hope we have better. Okay. I still can't hear anything.
I can hear you.
Now let's see. Let's see if you're coming up on the screen. Yes, you are. How brilliant.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is. It's good to see
I was expecting this, you know.
You're moving around in space there a lot, Giles.
Well, I don't know how I don't know how that happened.
It's like you're free flying.
Okay.
You have the Earth behind you. You're out in space, interdimensional being.
Yeah, I see that. Whoops. Anyways.
Really funny. Oh, thanks for the entertainment. I mean, did you put a spacesuit on today? Are you?
No, I just put my blue. I put my blue shirt. Listen, ask me, how did I get that background?
How did you get the background?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I'm a model from a previous century, you know.
Okay.
A lot of tech stuff is challenging for me.
I know, for me too, and for many others. I'm sure we can all agree with you that The technological stuff is challenging. I'm just looking to see how I can change it into a double screen so that there's the two of us on the screen at the same time. But
I'm going to see if I can get rid of my background. How do I do
oh no,
that?
don't worry, it's fine. It's quite interesting as long as you stay still, because it's making me feel a bit sick.
Well, it's because I have a tripod in my hand right now. But listen, I'm going. How about? Can you see anything here? Oops.
This is hilarious. Well, yes, I can see you sort of moving around in space. If you put the tripod on the table or somewhere, then it would be better.
Okay. Okay. Let me. No, because that was my. That's my view. Okay, so I'm going to sit down then somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to have my camera at the right angle.
Yeah.
For some reason, my. Okay, let me see this. I think this should be good. How's this?
Great. It's 222 here, by the way. So this is good timing. Good timing for
Divine timing.
Divine timing for masculine and feminine twin flame energy 222. So I'm just going to have a look to see how I can get Zoom live share screen share whatever. Okay. So carry on. You start talking. Did you hear my introduction?
No.
Okay. So
I had no volume, no sound, no picture.
Okay.
Nothing.
So we were talking earlier, you and I, about the sound and the light, and we've been talking for a while, a few months now, about the 10th, 11th, and 12th dimensions, which, as I explained on the map, are the masculine light, the feminine sound, and together they make the solar cross of the masculine and feminine in perfect balance with the one. So I was just saying that we were talking this morning about which one came first, was it the masculine or was it the feminine? And that the fact that we are in an inverted descension timeline matrix, therefore, what does that mean for where we are going? So where we've been and where we are going. So that's what we're going to talk about today, isn't it?
I'm going to go with the flow.
I said, Gilles, come on and you speak and I will listen, because you're obviously incredibly well, educated, and you've got a lot of experience and you are very connected. And I know that you're bringing down a lot of light code. So I just wanted to, listen to you and give you free flow in this conversation that we've been talking about.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Sally. First of all, I'm really happy and honored to be sharing this moment with you, and in the service of all, right? And the service of our Creator. And if anything, we should start maybe with a prayer that all this that we do is like in the service of good. And, because this is something that I think connects us together, this will to serve, and this understanding that something was wrong. Something's been wrong, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I agree with you. We should start with a prayer. So would you like to do that for us?
You're hosting.
Okay. Well, I went through the chakra system, the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. But that's only because I was in the Sound of Music when I was age 11, and I love singing. But that's the Lord's Prayer, isn't it? It is whatever it is. I went through it.
Okay, so do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do.
Yeah, so the do is I am presence.
Okay.
So our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, means keep thy name holy, which is I am. Okay. Thy kingdom come is what we see with our third eye. Thy will be done is what we speak on earth as it is in heaven. On this plane, anything we create in the higher planes, we then see created in this plane. Thank you for our daily bread, taking it in through the heart. Forgive us of our actions against others, as others we forgive others' actions against us. Lead us not to hard testing in our sacral chakra about temptation, but keep us safe from the evil one. Amen. Or amen. Or and so it is, so it is, so it is. Anything you want to add to that prayer, just to do a blessing for the world or the people?
Amen. Hallelujah. I'll just like, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do it. I love it.
Praise
I
the
love
Lord.
it. Yeah, praise the Lord. Yeah. And how can we say God is my father and the father of all? We
Yeah,
go
I was
at
going
that.
to ask you, so who is God to you when we say praise the Lord? What does that mean to you? Who is the Lord?
Okay, well, the Lord, from my understanding, okay, what I've learned is, well, God is the Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who is God?
God is the creator.
Okay. God is the creator. So are you talking as in like there's a creator, protector, and destroyer, the three energies of the masculine, the feminine, and the Christ?
I'm
Or
before that. I'm before that. I think that's a code of understanding, okay, that helps us. But like, there's no numbers like for God. It's like it's before all that. If we're going to put it before, for example, if I go back to the Old Testament, just the first five words, right? In the beginning, God created.
yep.
So, like I reflected upon that. In the beginning, God created. So, out of God began creation.
Yep. It's all yours. Floor's yours.
Well, you see, so because if I have this like a natural inclination towards balancing things, seeing both sides, like you mentioned, and this, so all three sides and four sides and everything. So God to me is the creator of everything that exists. Like existence came from God.
Yeah. I'm
Does that make sense?
listening. Well, existence came from God, and well, just asking you, so who is God to you? Is it the light and sound, vibration and frequency? Is it that kind of just a harmonic om, the eternal presence of oneness and love? Or do you see it as an old man in the sky with a beard?
No, listen, I'm starting to grow a beard here.
Are you saying you are God?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But what you mentioned, like, is he like the light or the harmonic, the sound? He is the creator of the light and the sound.
Okay, so we are saying that there is a creator of the light and the sound.
Exactly. That's my understanding. Like the like where did the come from? Like, okay, so you have the sound, and then you got the creation, like the became, so like he's the is coming out from God, like he's the umming one.
So you're saying that that God is it's just the light and the sound, an eternal vibration and frequency, and that it didn't come from anywhere, or did it come from the central sun, or did something explode and create that?
No, my understanding and the teachings that I've received is that is just an energetic principle. Okay, existence is on the basis of an energetic principle. And if you are talking about light and sound, like in our discussion this morning, I was mentioning to you, if you like 0.0,
Yep.
so at 0.0, and if this is all of it, you know, the beginning and the end and all of it, and if there's an end, but we're in existence, and we have to go beyond existence because we have to go into life and spirit. So the that principle, that energetic principle, that from which the sound came from, was just like a little thing. The Big Bang would have happened after. like anything, it takes you have to get to a threshold before you get a big bang. There's an accumulation of something before it bangs, right?
I would agree. Yeah.
So initially it's just a small thing. Like you wouldn't suspect that that small little thing would become a big bang.
What do you think would cause the Big Bang?
That the accumulation, like, it's just like it's part of the process, the expansion process.
Okay. Accumulation of, I mean, have you gone into thinking about matter and antimatter and protons and electrons and neutrons and how we split the atom and then we're all coming back together? Nuclear fission, nuclear fusion?
Ooh, you're going so fast.
Oh, I just wondered because, you know, we're talking about God and how God came about and the birth of the consciousness. So let's take it back down a bit into masculine, feminine, what we were talking about this morning then instead, and figure out what were you saying about which one you think come first, because you were talking to me about light and sound, thunder and lightning. I found that really intriguing.
Well, I didn't really say thunder and lightning. That's something that you didn't even tell me that connected in your mind.
Maybe we're telepathic.
Yeah, okay. But so if I place myself at point zero, okay, at point zero, then it would have been sound. And from the sound would have come light. Like like the word, the sound, the wave, the sound wave became light. The word became light. So this, and then the light wave movement eventually crystallizes. So there's a process. Now, from out of God began this outness, this sound. So if I'm a distance from it, then it's going to be the light that comes to me first, right?
Yep.
So there you have like 2 points of reference.
Okay, I'm
where
still
where I am, the relative me, myself. Oh, look at the light. The light came first. But that's just a relative. That's from my point of relativity.
Okay, I'm still trying to, and this is appropriate because I'm still trying to figure out how we sit side by side on the Zoom thing whilst you're speaking.
Side by side?
Yeah, because this is about the masculine and the feminine, and
side by each. Side by each.
Is that what you say?
Well, I don't know. It's a bit of French here.
Okay.
Excuse me.
And you were speaking Arabic this morning to me. That's interesting to me. So can you tell me about that? What's the history?
Oh, geez. Well, that's a long story. That's a really long story. That's a personal journey, and I have no problem sharing it with you. But at one point in my life, I opened up to Islam. Okay, not in a religious movement. I wasn't in a religious movement by no means. Not in a cult movement by no means. I was in a civil movement. Now you don't understand. What am I saying?
No, I'm listening. I'm just I'm letting you go.
Trying to figure it out. So basically, I met this woman, this young lady, who was working in a pizza place. I walk in there. They were offering slices at 99 cents. Okay. And it had just opened where I was living. I was in Montreal then. And I walk in and I was told that my pizza was ready. I'd never been there. First time I walk in, it just opened up. And that opened up a conversation that eventually I found out that she wanted to make her future, build her future in Canada. I'm speaking from Canada, by the way. I'm across the pond.
Uh-huh.
And so in the process, so I acted towards her as a host, okay?
Okay.
Here, and I thought she was very courageous to, to want to build her future here. Her brother was living in Montreal, and she'd arrived on a visitor's visa. Now, she wanted to change her visa from a visitor to a student visa. And so she went through the process of that. And to receive an answer telling her, well, you have to go out of the country to, put in your request, file your request. So basically she could go out in the States or go back. She was from another country, an Arabic country, North Africa. And so I said, well, I thought to myself, well, that's quite stupid. Who cares where the mailbox is, and so her dreams were like being shattered. So I told her spontaneously, hey, you want Canada? I'll give it to you.
You gave her a green card?
Well, there's no green card in Canada. I said, and she says, well, how you do that? Well, I'll just give you some papers. I'll marry you. I'll just give you papers.
Oh, that's so funny. You should say that, Giles. That's very funny for me. I mean, not funny as in funny, haha, but it's very significant because many of us have twin flames who are from different countries, different cultures. And now with the whole Brexit thing, it's difficult for us to be together in the same place, which is heartbreaking. But perhaps that is the way around it. So that's what you did.
That's what I did. Well, that's back in 1994, mind you, okay? And so that was spontaneous. Actually, like she told me like that information. Now, mind you, that this person, I had never held her hand. There was no romanticism involved at all. Like she was younger than I was, and I was single, and like I wasn't out for like any romance or anything like that. And but to me, like it didn't make sense. Like this civil and this governmental like BS, let me call it, it didn't make sense. So I said, okay. I turned around, so I left her. I had dropped her off in the car. And then I thought about it for a few moments, and then I turned around and went back, honked the horn, brought the window down. Hey, come on. You want Canada? I'll give it to you. Canada's mine. I'll give it to you.
Mm.
So in that process, I thought I was going to go to a civil marriage, go to court, see a judge. And kind of in my mind, like I was really ignorant, but in my mind, it was like kind of Las Vegas, walk into the courthouse, get a paper and walk out and you're married, that was like simple. Kind of, so Las Vegas, you can do the same thing, except you can do it with a drive-in. You drive in and you can order a hamburger and a milkshake with a marriage to go.
Yep, we can do that in Scotland too.
Well, there you go. Are you in Scotland?
No, but you can just drive up to Scotland and literally walk in and get married.
Well, there you go. See, that's cool. So, but it's like where I am, I'm in the province of Quebec. I'm in Canada, the province of Quebec, the civil code and all that. And well, it didn't work that way. You have to announce that intention on the official gazette, the legal gazette and whatnot. And anybody who has something to say against it has the time, maybe the 3 weeks, 10 days or whatever to,
Yeah, I understand we have those laws too in England. Yeah, it's called reading of the bans, I think.
Okay, so then
it's 1440 as we're talking about marriage between the masculine and the feminine. How lovely. So what happened next?
Well, what happened next is like I was set to go work to France. I was involved with network marketing. I was really involved in network marketing. I was set to go to work in France. Okay, Paris. I had my plane ticket, everything. I was awaited. We had done the Salon de la Franchise in Paris. I was in business with other people. And so I was awaited. So I didn't have time to get that done. because like the time span actually, so because I was leaving Friday the 13th of May 1994. That was my plane. I was supposed to be off, but I didn't have time. Like we're in the beginning of May, I think by that time, and like I just known her for a week or something, like I didn't know this person.
Do you think she was your twin flame? Are you referring to her now, looking back, thinking she was a lot younger than you? She was from a different culture. She was from a different country. Or did it set off your spiritual awakening? Or are you not? Did it not do that for you? Do you have to?
Because there was no romance. There was no romance involved. Listen, she was a nice person. And I was there to serve her. Like I said, it was a civil movement of mine. Okay. And, but so what happened is like, so I said, oh, I'm sorry. We won't be able to go through this because, I don't have time. And so I was kind of relieved, so like the structure, the process, because after thinking about it, like I said, geez, like I was really committing myself with like somebody I didn't even know. And
That's what a twin flame relationship would be like, because you have a higher awareness, or you're directed by your guidance that this is something I need to do. So did you feel that on you, or was it not? Are you just do you think there's anything between you and her now, or was it just to set your path into going to a different country and learning a different language and learning about a certain religion?
Well, she's the mother of my eldest daughter.
So you still have connection?
Yeah, well, I had to be, there had to be a connection to have a daughter.
You still have a connection now?
Yeah, it's like we've been through rough waters. Listen, it's because it was
sounds like a twin flame relationship.
Well, so listen, so I say, so eventually in the process, I wanted to give value to my word, okay? Because I had like somewheres in the past, like I felt I wasn't honorable in what was expected of me. And so I was repentive, like in myself. So I wanted to hold on to my word. It's like I offered something, I wasn't asked to do it, and then I held on to it. And so she had all her hopes, on my word. So, and then so the thing is like, okay, so the only way we could get married is that, well, then not civilly, because we couldn't do that. An option was that I become a Muslim.
Right.
Well, okay, so we're back in 1994. Like what I had learned from school, like you really don't want to go there. Like I'd been taught at school that Muhammad was the Antichrist, and and it was like in the time about like stuff was stirring up in Algeria and whatnot, and like so Muslims were like being portrayed as terrorists, like this, like amongst. So like I wasn't really attracted to that, to tell you the truth, but I wanted to honor my word. So we took an appointment. She says, okay, we can take an appointment to find out if how we become a Muslim. Okay, but I felt secure. So we went, that was a Monday on the 9th of May, 1994. Okay. So I felt quite secure about the fact that I don't have time to learn anything, like, because I'm leaving, and get married. So I went to this place with her to a private home. Some man, like looked like a wise man, he had the white beard, and he wasn't God, but he had this kind of beard, and he was legit, and as it turns out, he was Pakistani, and so he explained to me, like, basically, okay, we believe in one God. Okay, so that makes sense to me. We believe in one God, He says we believe in all the prophets.
Okay.
So, but we believe that Jesus was a prophet of God, not a son of God.
Okay.
God has no children. Okay. Well, so to me, yeah, that like and that Muhammad is a prophet of God. Well, on that part, like I had to take it on him because, like, okay, I don't know Muhammad, like so. Says, what do you think of all that? Well, like up to Jesus not being the Son of God. Okay, I can be open to that. We can have a discussion about that. I'm open to hearing that point of view. First time I hear that. And Muhammad, well, I had that what I've been taught in school, and like so here in Quebec, like the educational system was in the hands until 1961 or something like that, 62. It was in the hands of the Catholic Church. So they wouldn't teach you anything good about Muhammad or Islam, would they?
And what religion were you, or were you no religion?
No. In my religion of inheritance is Christianity, okay. Catholic. French Canada is very much Catholic, or was, okay, historically.
Okay.
So I was like, I was splashed with some water on my 8th day, so I went through, but what happened here in the Quebec society, like women were historically very oppressed by the institution of the church. Like women basically became baby factories. And so like if there was the battle on the plains of Abraham, between the French and the English, so like this war that was happening was also happening here, like in America. And the battle of the plains of Abraham back in 1759, which was lost to Wolfe. Then the negotiations in 1763, Canada became British North America. The French crown ceded, gave that part, to the British crown. So there was this exchange. So the Catholic Church, it had this strategy of revenge. Okay, we're gonna take revenge on them. And you know what was their strategy?
Not yet.
Population. So
okay.
we're gonna populate. So like the English population was coming in. So we're gonna fight that English population. So the woman gave birth. How many children do you have? 9. Like how come you're not pregnant this year? How come? So like women were baby factories.
So was this because they did not allow them to use contraception?
Well, we're into the 17. What contraception are we talking about? Like we're into the 17th, we're 18th century, 19th century. What are we talking about here? That doesn't exist, right? So they were just like, well, the contraception wasn't like as it is now. No, now. So then that whole movement with like communication, expansion of communication, awareness and whatnot, there was what was called here in Quebec a quiet revolution. Like the domination of the Catholic Church within the Quebec society was pushed off, and then it was a governance, a Quebec government, a national government. So in that process, like women, were given rights that they didn't have, like voting and whatnot, and all this kind of stuff. So the church basically was pushed away from any domination within the society. So I was born, like the Quiet Revolution began, like we say, began in 1960. I was born in 1960, right at the beginning of the Quiet Revolution. So at the outset, so the church was not dominating in my life. I went to church. My father, was born like not in my hometown. My father used to go to church every morning. He went through that. Not my mother, but my father. And but me, we went to church, on Sunday, and eventually, like I saw, like the clerics like leave the Quebec society. I was taught in grade 1. I was taught by a Catholic nun.
Yeah.
Okay. And teaching was on a religious basis. You had the school boards, religious school boards, either Catholic or other, Protestant. Okay, there was no Jewish school board, so that's how the education was. It was within that realm, and that changed to linguistic, French and English. So I personally never suffered any problem with the church, or like the church wasn't there. And I grew up at the church is not really a problem. It's not even present. So that like there's a kind of vacuum there. So I don't have a problem with church, or personally, I didn't, but I know of other people who have suffered, from that. So when I went to this thing, to this meeting with the Shia, and he tells me this stuff, and he says, so what do you think? I said, well, okay, yeah, it makes sense to me, So he says, well, then you can, okay, if you want, you can repeat after me. And this is a witnessing. So I bear witness, the Shahada, La ilaha illallah. And I won't repeat the last part of it, but I was, directed into saying it. Basically,
why do you say you won't repeat the last bit of it?
Because it refers to Muhammad, and the reading that I have of it is that it kind of links some association, so I say I walked into Islam, I shot walking backwards. That's how I walked into Islam. Okay, walking backwards with eyes shut. And you know what happened when I opened my eyes?
No, not yet.
It was completely dark. I couldn't see nothing.
So when you say you walked backwards into Islam with your eyes shut, what do you mean by that? How can you?
Well, it's because I really wasn't going for Islam. Like my movement wasn't towards Islam. That wasn't my destination. It was like a means. It was a vehicle whereby the offer that I had made, I could hold on to my word. So I did not convert to Islam as others would say. I didn't do that. Okay. I opened up. I opened myself, but I didn't convert. And to tell you the truth, that was on the 9th of May, okay, on the month. So the guy says, okay, you can come back tomorrow. Okay, so then I repeated that thing. You know what he told me?
What did he tell you?
He says, you're pure as a baby. All your sins are forgiven. You're pure as a baby. And I really felt like he believed that, and there was something and says, you can come back tomorrow and I'll marry you too.
Okay.
Wow. Like that, I was like. So I walk out of there with her. Basically, she's a stranger. I never held her hand. She had put her arm around my arm, and she's if I'm going to do what?
That's very brave.
Okay, well, I don't know, but so it's this is defining moments. When you have defining moments, well, that was a kind of a really big defining moment. And the thing is in my civil movement, okay, if I'm going to offer Canada, because I've been a witness to marriages, civil marriages, as students would marry together to be recognized as independent with regards to the government and the state, and that way they could have better loans and bursaries. They weren't dependent of their parents anymore. So I was a witness to that, and I was also a witness at university of marriages for immigration purposes. I was a witness to that. I knew of that, but all these kind of marriages were civil marriages, in court. I never would have thought of ringing church bells to do that.
So we're going back to the religion thing. So what I'm feeling here is that you met this woman for some reason. Perhaps it was your higher self. You felt that it would be a good thing for you to get together so that she could have her access to Canada. You couldn't do that, so you decided to go and live over there in which country were you living in? Did you say?
No. You haven't. No, that's not how it goes. Listen, I didn't see her as a twin flame. First of all, I had no vocabulary of twin flame.
No,
and the only
we don't until afterwards, and we look back and think, okay, that changed me. It changed my spirituality. It changed my outlook on life. It expanded me into, bigger things.
That's just an event in my life. Like I could tell you other events in my life that changed things in my life. The course of my life. Like there are other things like important things and like whoop. So this is just, to me, this is like part of the journey. Like.
But we always talk about the how what they say in the Quran, because I really am interested in how we compare the two, the Christian religion and the Quran, and what the Muslim attitude is towards Yeshua the Christ, who the story is came here and walked the earth, how they see that. And so what's impression did it leave you with?
Well, so first of all, like what impression did it leave me with? I was like, I lost like my compass, like went whoa, walked out of there. Like I told the girl, I said, listen, seems to me it's going to be a real marriage, like I felt like it was a solemn moment, this was serious. It was like, okay, we're going to get married for papers, wink wink, yeah, we're married, but no, this was no wink wink kind of stuff, like I don't even know you, you don't know me, so what are we going to do? Because he says you can come back tomorrow, I'll marry you too. So she's like, she kind of laughed and giggled a bit, like shy, and says, well, what do you think? Well, I said, listen, I gave you my word, and we'll continue. Okay, we won't be the first two who get married who don't know each other, right?
I don't think that you were the first two. I know that goes on in many countries all around the world.
There you go. So I said, okay. So the next day we did go back, and she had her brother come as a witness, and her cousin, she had come to Canada with as the other witness, and so we were married.
Yeah.
Well, then this is when like things like really like steered off, because in my culture, okay, so you're pronounced man and wife, husband and wife, you're married, so you may kiss the bride, right? So that was an awkward moment. It says, okay, now you're married, so I don't know so now you're married, and so I approached myself to like honor, like seal the wedding, and like she turned her cheek on me.
Right. So she didn't really want to kiss you.
No, well, I didn't really want to kiss her either. Like we weren't at a kissing stage. We hadn't even gone through like hold the hand, like forget this kiss, like, like it was an awkward moment, but it's but it's just that like my background, my blueprint, my traditional blueprint of getting married, you kiss the bride. I'm sorry. Like, okay, so gotta kiss the bride, So like, let's say you go to church and like, okay, I pronounce you man and wife. Like, okay, we're not kissing. Did you see that happening?
You said it was a business arrangement almost. It was an offer of you can come.
No business. Not business. There's no business. There's no money involved. It was civil.
Okay, a civil arrangement.
It was a civil arrangement, but it was because it was going to be a real wedding. That's okay. Like we entered that way, like, okay, this is a civil arrangement, and we walked out. No, this is going to be cult. The cult is involved, like. And like, I knew nothing. Like I said, I walked in backwards, eyes shut, like, because like I was holding on. So I went in. So she says, okay, I'm ready to go. So I said, we go. So I walked in, like I walked into that house backwards, walking backwards, with eyes shut. Because I never expected to walk out, listen, I became pure as a baby, all my sins were forgiven, and I didn't even go through confession. that was pretty neat. Like,
is that something that you always find with the Muslim religion, that you don't have to go through a baptism or anything? You just turn up and they say everything is good, you are clear and clean, and you can move on into your, life of virtue.
okay, so okay, would I surprise you if I tell you I'm a non-traditional Muslim? I say, okay, I'm a Muslim in Christ. That's what I say.
Right. So you didn't take on all the beliefs of the Muslim religion, but you learned how to speak a lot of it and you kind of practiced it. Is that right?
Yeah, well, but eventually at one point, like, so we got married, we got married on the 10th of May. The 10th of May, if you look, 1994, if you look it up, it was a day of an eclipse, okay? So I got married, like, it was pretty well an eclipse on that day, I'll tell you that. So, yeah, so eventually, but so we walk out of there, like we're married, like we talked, and so she left off with her brother, and I went back to my place. I'm leaving on Friday the 13th, and it really didn't feel like a marriage to me, like that. Like, so like I'm kind of confused here, like in terms of like my references, my cultural references. Like, I don't know where the hell am I? Like, where am I? But anyway, so that's fine. So the next day, now we need to get the papers. Like, I need to get because I'm leaving on Friday. Like, we're like the next day, we're Wednesday morning. We got to get the papers going because I'm leaving on Friday. Well, so we got the business trying to get the papers. We couldn't get the papers in downtown Montreal because there was changes with immigration. So we finally got the papers on the Thursday. And so like I got the paperwork, I signed the paper, and like I'm leaving. I'm off to France. And I had a friend I went to school with. We lived together at university. So it was set up before, like he was going to come and drive me to the airport. And so he comes in on a Friday. And so like, I'm ready, like the house is shut, like where we're living, it was shut down and everything. I, called my parents, I'm off to, and so he says, who's that?
Mm.
Well, I said, oh, that's my wife. He
Mm.
says, what? He says, what? What'd she do? He says, we spoke on Sunday. You tell me about getting a wife. Oh, like I didn't know myself. I didn't know Sunday I was really going to get married. So then like he convinced me not to leave. He says, you can't go. He says, if that's your wife and you're on, they're going to deport her. You have to take care of that paperwork. You can't go. So I never left. So that changed, like in many ways, I changed my life. And then eventually I went on this path, like, where am I? Okay, you guys, like, so like everybody was happy, like that I was a Muslim, and like, wow, that's like, and then like Ramadan. So I got caught or introduced into the culture, which is good. And then I said, well, started wanting to ask questions, learning. So I went in on this learning journey by myself, and where I was accompanied by traditionalists, and they were telling me eventually, like what they were telling me is like, okay, do this, do that, do this, do that, and like, so follow the memory. So I had never gone to a mosque before. I went to a mosque, and then like, so I took my feet, my shoes off, and washed my feet and all that. But I didn't leave my head, at the entrance. I kept my head because I hadn't converted. I opened up. So this stuff had to make sense to me. And like eventually at one point, like stuff didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And it's very important that you said that, because when you say you kept your head, a lot of people go into different religions and then get brainwashed, like mind controlled, which is what we're breaking up with. Yeah.
So I didn't at all. I didn't. I went through like, so like in my process, like I like pretty well, like not all the mosques in Montreal, but I, went to many, and discovered things and whatnot. And I eventually, what really kept me in there is I met up with a gentleman on my path after that, who had done an amazing work inspired with the concept and the message of Jesus.
So was he a Muslim?
No,
He practiced Muslim religion? No.
not at all. Not at all. Not at all. He was a Catholic.
Okay.
But he developed this tool and he called it a tri-concept. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's an amazing tool. And so he showed me, he taught me the tri-concept, because I was supposed to, like, I'd been approached to be a salesperson for this business. And so this tri-concept, like, was based, like, there's a story, there's 35, 40 years of research like that he did before I'd met him, you know? So it's the basis of it is the taking Jesus as not as a spiritual master, but as a maître à penser, a thinking master. Okay, this guy was on a journey. His personal, he was looking for a master to think. You know, how should I navigate in life or whatnot? And so he'd gone through like Buddha, Muhammad, and I don't know who else he had gone through and evaluated, but without considering Jesus. Okay, and so he was in a retreat at some point, and he was discussing with a brother in religion, and not a monk. I don't know what it. So that person suggested him, why don't you take Jesus, you know, as that guide, like ton maître à penser, your master to think. He says, well, I'm not looking for a God. So he was told, no, take the human, take the man. So that's what he did. And so he communicated with him and asked him, that first question he asked him, he says, who's God? So guess the answer that he received.
Well, there are many answers to that question.
I know, but like what? So he's connecting to Jesus, the man, not the Son of God, the man, the human being. He's connecting to that entity and he's asking him, who's God?
Well, if he said the same as what Yeshua will say to me, he will say, I am you, you are me, we are one.
Oh, that's pretty neat. So that's not what he was told. He says we're three. Okay. It says we're three. There's the Father and there's the Holy Spirit. Only trois. So who's God? So he placed himself. The answer was placing whoever, like, in God, and we're three in God.
Yeah, we are one. So the oneness, I guess it's the same thing as in the masculine and the feminine. It relates to the Holy Spirit and the Father. So the Father, the Holy Spirit, has been seen as the masculine creator, the feminine protector, and then you have the Son energy, who is the light or the destroyer of darkness.
Destroyer of darkness, that's kind of violent.
It does sound violent, and the 10D Christ light direction, it is violent, isn't it? It gives you a light and a direction towards the light and towards love, and it destroys anything that is not of love. And that's why we're having the times that we're having now on the earth, because
okay, this is where I differ, okay, in my understanding. Okay, because so to me, like, a loving light is not a blinding light.
Yeah, I agree.
My understanding. So like my personal journey, like when I opened up, so this is since 1994, okay? So it has some time to it. The clock has been ticking, but I was on a personal journey back since 1985, a conscious journey, so coming out of university. And I had come up with a personal concept of three myself. So, and in colors, purple, pink, and green, okay? and I've showed you some stuff like purple, pink, and green. And then I had no words. It's just a feeling and something that, an inspiration and that has been with me for 37 years. So that's accompanied me. And now I meet up with this guy. He comes up with this. So you know what he did to this answer? You know what he did? He says, we're three. That threeness, that message. He says, okay, if that's the case, if God is like, you're giving me a message in three, if that's the case, then I'm going to look for the threeness in things. That presence, that threeness presence in things. So he began investigating the threeness of things, and began, well, first of all, recognizing like a lot of three was out there. You could bring things, a lot of stuff could be brought to three. And so he identified many things, like, for example, communication, and this was all done in French, by the way. So émetteur, transmetteur, récepteur, you have an emission, you have a transmitter, and you have a receptor. So those are the three parts in communication. You need émetteur, transmetteur, récepteur. So hundreds of these threeness. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Trinity. Yeah, agree.
So then what happened? He said, okay, that's nice, but what do I do with that and all this? So he was seeing the threeness, and then he asked himself, what's the same, what's similar in all of this threeness? And he identified that as a logical concept of truth, un concept logique de vérité. And that's everything has a past, a present, and a future.
And we can also relate that, as I was saying before, about the atom, the proton, the electron, neutron.
Exactly. Now, if you start looking for the threeness of things, you're going to see a lot, like, okay, that's a pattern, a structure that makes sense. So, and then, so he did that threeness of things. So one word, one subject of inquiry, and then finding the threeness of that thing, right? So you're out with 4 words. For example, communication. We're just going to think communication. Emitter, transmitter, receptor. So communication, emitter, transmitter. So that's 4 words in all, right? Communication. What's communication?
Yeah.
1, 2. So then he structured that into a picture, like in grille. He structured this out, and then he went further. He says, okay, what's the threeness of that threeness that I just identified? So he would, that one word, let's say communication, and I can change words. You want me to use spirit? I could use spirit, because I could use many words, but spirit, I think, is a very interesting one. Should I?
Whatever.
Or I could. Well, what's good for you? I want to be in service. I could use universe. He built a business with that, a coaching business with that. Okay, out of that, he obtained recognition in academia, in other places, but the business part of it never left. There was a problem in there, but in any case, that structure, when I saw the structure that he presented to me, and a tableau, like it's a picture, like it's with 3s anyways. I can show you if you want the structure itself, but in any case, you know what I did? I put in Judaism, Christianity is in Islam.
Yeah.
Okay. So the threeness of monotheism. So this guy, Christian, inspired by that message of Trinity, and in his research, brought to me something, a structure that I put in the threeness of monotheism. So, and what he was presenting in his structure made sense. Like, geez, that's good. Like, Jesus, that good. And then, so I was laughing to myself. I said, geez, you just confirmed to me that Islam has its place. Judaism, Christianity. So you just like, so I had a counterbalance. I felt really good because up and until then, I saw nothing in Islam that made sense. Nothing. And now I have something that's inspired from Christianity, from a message of three that tells me it makes sense.
How, if you don't mind me interrupting, how did you relate that to the Muslim, to the Quran? How did you relate the message of three?
I didn't even have a Quran then, and Muslims I didn't even relate it right away. But all I did was to me, it was like a confirmation that the threeness of things was also the threeness in monotheism. There was a threeness in monotheism, and the tool that he had developed and all his threeness inquiry in three made sense. And this logical concept of truth, of past, present, and future, well, if I'm going to put it in chronology, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So I knew where the future's going, just put it in order. So that appeased me in some way.
Okay.
From his side, but I had no appeasement on the other side. But it just said, okay, it strengthened my faith, if you will, into pursuing, okay, you're on the right path. I can't see anything. Eyes shut, walking backwards, open your eyes, it's dark. Okay, you're in the right place. I don't know where it is. Where's the light? I don't know. So eventually I asked for a Quran because I in my process, okay, do you guys have a book or something? Where can I learn, Oh yeah, we got a Quran. Oh, Quran. Nobody ever spoke to me a Quran. I didn't even know about the Quran. I was ignorant, super, really ignorant in the whole thing. So I opened the Quran. So this guy from Algeria, okay, I went to a mosque. First time I go to a mosque in Montreal, downtown Montreal. I go to a mosque to go get a Quran with my wife. And the wifeness isn't really being experienced. We're having difficulty. I'm not sure. We have we gone to the kissing? I'm not so sure about that yet. But we began holding hands. We're doing that. So this is good. But so she's and the time that we're together, we're really isolated. At that point, we're both kind of I'm isolated from a lot of my past, right? But it's all good. But anyway, so we go to this mosque to get a book, a Quran, and it's closed. It's a hallway. It's on the floor or something. It's not even a building. It's just a room in a building, the mosque. So I can't let. So then there was this guy sitting on the floor. He says, "Oh, what do you? Okay, can I help you?" He says, "Well," so my wife says, "Well, we're here for a Quran. We'd like to get this is my husband and like to get a Quran." He says, "Well, it's closed." He says, "If you want, I can give you a Quran. I can get you one and bring it to you." So this guy from Algeria offered that.
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, but we're going to meet in a metro station. You're not going to know where I live." Because I had seen about Algerians, on the tube. I don't know. Let's keep a safe distance, right? Arm's distance, arm's length. So that's what happened. We met in a metro station. He gave me a Quran, and he says, "Okay, here's the book. Okay, thank you very much," and all this. And I said, and he tells me, he says, "Listen, I'll give you an advice. Okay, start reading from the end."
Okay.
Well, I didn't say what? Okay, that's what he tells me. Start reading from the end. So, okay, so I opened the book at the end, and this speaks to what we spoke about this morning. So I opened the book at the end, and you know, like what happened?
What happened?
Well, so the end was the beginning.
Ah, well, there you go. We've got some nuggets of truth in here, haven't we? So the end being the beginning, and everything is the three energies, which relates to the three: divine masculine, divine feminine, and the one.
I
So
love that I love that you're able to integrate things that I'm saying. Like, okay, it makes sense because it does make sense, you know?
yeah, and I'm quite aware of the time because I didn't intend to be on here that long. But what I said at the beginning was that you
I've
would
heard that before.
you
I've
would
heard
come,
that before.
you would come on here and we would talk
You're
about
leaving.
the three energies. No, I'm not leaving, but
Okay,
I
okay,
just saying that
okay.
I love the way that
The
you talk
energies.
about the three energies, because we've got the energy of the Christ avatar, the Buddha avatar, and the oneness, this being the feminine,
Sorry.
this being the masculine. Can you see it? This being the
Well,
masculine.
because I'm on my phone, remember, right? I'm on my phone and I need
Yeah.
to wear glasses. So this is quite small. But if we're looking at the dimensions for the people that know like the process, what D are we on there?
So we're on 10D, 11D, and 12D. So you were talking about there being the trinity of the three of everything, as in
the threeness.
Yeah.
That came out to a tri concept. Okay, that he named it. The word that he named, that he coined, is a tri concept. Okay.
Yeah. And so this tri concept, we said the creator, the protector, and the destroyer. And you said you didn't see it as a destroyer, you saw it as something softer than that. But interestingly, this Christ avatar here at 10D is the light, and we talk about the light being the direction. And if there is light, then that makes the darkness go away. And in the
hold on a second. I'd like to now. Light is something that I spent much time, and that's part of my vocabulary now. So I spent, time reflecting about light. So there's light and darkness. That's easy to say. Okay, light and dark, right? Day and night.
Yes, that's the duality of the matrix.
But in terms of light, there's also direction to light.
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we? About the light is direction and sound is movement.
Well, I think there could be, the thing is, that can change, okay? There can be a succession of that, because there's, in terms of light, there's where the light is coming from, we could call source, where the light is coming from, the sun, for example, and where the light is going.
Which you just described with the monotheistic religions as going from Judaism to Christianity to Islam.
That's a prison. Okay, that's a monotheistic prison I mentioned to you.
That's the black box inverted phantom matrix program.
Okay, I like, there's a lot to speak of, okay? And I can show you like the black box. The black box is symbolically very interesting, okay? But in terms of where the light, it's easy to say where the light is coming from, saying the sun. The light is coming from the sun, right?
That's what you just said. Yeah.
Well, if I look outside, just look outside, Sally, what time is it for you?
The light comes from the sun, I agree.
Okay, so the light is coming, but where's the light going to?
Into the dark.
Yeah, into the dark, okay? It brings light to the dark. So, but if I look to the light, what am I going to see?
You'll be blinded.
There you go. I'm going to see black. Paul was blinded for 3 days. Like, if you look into the light, where the light comes from, you'll be blinded by the light. Isn't there a song? Blind sticks, yeah. Equinox. Yeah. So now the moon represents where the light is going.
Good. That makes sense. As far as 11D is the moon.
Well, so you need, okay, I don't know, you're telling me. So I know that the stuff that you're doing fits, like, I know that the stuff that you're bringing out fits with the stuff that I've discovered, that I know that I've been gifted with. I know that because I've seen your stuff. You haven't seen my stuff. Like, I've built a compass myself. It's funny, like, you have a compass. Well, I've built a compass myself. Okay. And so I have teaching tools myself. So what you're bringing out, I say, geez, that's like, I get excited by your stuff because I love your stuff. You know, it complements my stuff. Like the masculine and the feminine, that's what love is about. It has to be complementary.
Mm.
And the couple, you know what the biggest human struggle is?
Relationships.
The couple. That's what really needs to be mended. That's the fall. That's something happened. Okay. And then that eventually, we talked about, like, the mother, you talked about the mother, the natural mother, and the masculine and the feminine. And I wrote to you this morning, like, I think our conversations, what you're bringing out, inspires me a lot. You know, like, okay, it's like there's a relay. You say something and then, oops, it hits home. And then, oh, and then something else happens. So the conversation is what you bring out. The conversation is easy for me. So then the mother and the son, okay, if they were not connected after birth, that's what I told you this morning, right? If that connection was prevented. Now, in, like, tradition, would you imagine Mary and Jesus, like, not having that connection, that mother-son connection?
No.
No. Huh?
Well, there are many different relationships in this inverted matrix, aren't they, between mother and son? So there's
no, but I'm talking about the pure one. No. Listen, the good stuff is always there.
Yeah. So the pure relationship between the mother and the son is pure, beautiful, unconditional, loving bond. But the inverted in this matrix, we can have the mother energy who acts like a martyr, or the mother energy who acts like a daughter energy, and therefore both are inverted templates for a mother, one who sacrifices and one who manipulates. So
you know what comes to me when you say that, inverted templates? The image, because so you're expressing like two poles, right?
Yeah.
So I think, okay, I bring them at the bottom. Two poles. And yeah, like, I feel that to be so painful, really. I feel the pain of this, like this structure of domination. And the mother isn't really being actualized in what she truly is in either pole. She isn't. Like, both the mother and the child are suffering from this.
Okay.
Like, there's tremendous suffering here.
Yes, there is.
And I feel so grateful to feel that suffering, to heal it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we are here for, isn't it? To heal that wounded archetypal.
All of it. But that's where, so I say I'm a master of me. So that also means a master of none. I'm a master of me and a doctor of words. Okay. So the words are healing. But not only the words, like, bring in the feminine energy, that presence, that soft spoken word. Sally, how you speak, how you bring out the feminine. To me, that's the language of Christ. that Christ consciousness, that light blue, speaking in light blue, seeing the dark, speaking the light, breathing. Between the light and the dark, there's the breath. There's the blue, the true blue. The breath, the spirit.
Okay, that's the blue ray, I would say.
I
The
don't know.
truth of the blue ray. It's all
Okay,
truth.
well,
And
where's that?
Going
Where's
into
that
the
in me?
dark,
Getting into the dark?
going into the dark, taking the sword out of the stone and expressing the truth. This is between here and here, like you say, is how we express. And that video I did yesterday shows how the Christ consciousness is coming from the divine feminine out through from the mouth.
You express in light blue. This is why I put the light blue, by the way. It's part of it.
The Magdalene colors, isn't it? The Mother Mary color.
I don't know.
Of the Magdalenes, they are blue. Yeah, so that's so good. But then we also have gold.
Yeah, well, gold is up to the top. Like I put a lot of things in movement, Sally. Like for me to unpack, my learning and teach it, like that complements your stuff. Because, okay, so I'm in this, okay, this my doctor of words. Okay, so the word that I came out with triality. Okay, my friend had the tri-concept, and I cured his tri-concept. Because in his tri-concept, there's a flaw. Okay, I identified a flaw in his tri-concept, in his structure. And the flaw was that he made it absolute. Just to make it simple, he made it absolute. So if I am going to say Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and if he said, that human said Father, Son, that is from a relative perspective. It's not from the absolute. That's the sound.
Light and sound, vibration frequency.
Yeah. So if you take something, and now there's this quarrel. There's this quarrel. Maybe a light being says, I came first. The creator said, no. Well, yeah, but you're not first. I came first. The movement didn't start at one. I came first. So there's this thing. And then the second one, the couple. You're there to serve the couple. What do you mean I'm going to serve the couple? I'm going to bow down to the second? No way. No way. I'm first. He's second. I come first. And there goes the battle.
That's what happened.
Brought down here. So we're the stage, Earth, and this battle has been going on in the universe, in the universes. Like this conflict, and it existed here before in other cycles. So this battle, and we're just actors on that stage, right?
And as you say, the 0 point is the point of sacred masculine and feminine at one, level and balanced perfectly in the solar cross. So if we descend down into the inverted matrix, or if we're going back up into the ascending matrix, we're still going to be, one is going to be, masculine is going to be on top, or feminine is going to be on top. It's going to be one or the other, until we get to 12D 0 point.
No. This, it has to be like we said before, Sally. Like the thought needs to shift. Okay, this up and down stuff. This is part of the bullshit. Okay, like the masculine does not want to be dominated by the feminine, and the feminine does not want to be dominated by the masculine. Okay, it was your turn. Okay, it was patriarchal. Now we're going to matriarchal. Well, sorry to say, I'm going to bring out the big word. Like I'm going to bring out a bomb. Like that's not going to happen. That's not where we need to go. It's not like that's not how it's going to go. We are meant to be a couple, side by each. You know what I mean? Side by each, side by, not one behind the other, side by each. In the middle, well, who's in the middle? So yeah.
That's right. I remember when I had a meditation once, I went up into the 12th dimension, and my twin flame was sat one side and I was sat there, and then there was Christ sat in the middle, and he had his arms around both of us and he said, you know, we make a great couple.
Yeah, well, sure, I'd make a great. So I thought out to myself, okay, would I take Mary as my, like, Mary, am I deserving of Mary? Like, who would I want to be in couple with? If you're in couple with Christ, who would I want to be, Carrie? Who's the?
Well, the Christ is the with Crystal Sophia, really. It's the one, is the I am presence. And so I guess we're coming back to that map again. What you're saying is that
I'm Christ. Am I Christ in this picture?
What you're saying is that this is never going to work on a descension or an ascension timeline, because we have to stay at 0 point, which is the 12th dimensional vibration and frequency of love.
It's going to work on, no, we're going for ascension. We're going for elevation. Okay. We're going for elevation, but okay. This is something that from our discussion this morning, because you brought out a problem. I pointed out to you the picture, like Sally, the date, you know, the date that I took that snapshot of, like that sine curve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What is that date?
I couldn't see it, so I text you back to say I can't see the date. Sorry.
So, Sally, if I was to tell you, Sally, what would be a perfect date for that to have happened?
I don't know. 8 something.
Nope. Sally, it's closer to
11th of November.
Exactly. 22. 11, 22.
Right. So yeah, the sine wave, as in we go down into the descending matrix and then up into the ascending matrix in the end, just to get back to that 12th dimensional place.
Can I just say something about that?
Yep, you can.
Okay, Sally. Just between you and I, okay?
I'm listening.
It's bullshit.
Okay.
That's not the movement that you want. Up and down and up and down and up and down. Tabarnak. Oy, oy. That sounds like, to me, that's kind of lunar stuff, you know, like just like shit. It's kind of like I'll say something to my spouse, okay? I'll say the same thing. 15 days apart, I'll get a different reception. Same thing. What happened? There was a movement. There was a natural cycle movement. Like shit. You know, you know what I mean? Like it just depends where, where are we in the egg making? You know, like
there's the chemical and hormonal shifts and changes. There are always shifts and changes. So how can we stay at 12D?
We need to get out of there. Okay, of that. Like that's not the movement that we need to be in. We need to be elevating. Like the masculine, like on both sides, balance. We need to elevate.
Yep. So do we need to be elevating, or do we need to be elevated? So we're constantly at that place of I am present 0.
No, the path of elevation is there. We just need to follow the path of elevation. That's all.
Can we not be in that I am presence all the time completely?
Yeah, well, I am present. Listen, if I place myself, okay, in that Christ consciousness. Now, because another thing that happened to me, like I didn't stay stuck in I didn't stay stuck in monotheism, by the way.
Mhm.
I went and I experienced a 10-day sitting down, shut up. No, don't talk.
Is that a Vipassana 10-day meditation?
Exactly. You did that yourself?
No, my twin does that.
So I did that. I sat.
Mhm.
And I experienced something like remarkable in my life journey. I experienced something remarkable. So then I mentioned, like, they said, like, because I experienced like consciousness, like just like being like a Deepak Chopra says, you're a witness to it, or like you see, how does Deepak Chopra word it? How does he say it? Basically, it was also described as ether. I don't know, but in any case, like, so I'm just like, I just melted into all of it. Like I was part of this, like, I don't know, but I was just conscious in this big melty flowy thing, and in me, like, it just like, and I breathed it in. And actually I was seeking for a ruh Allah, okay, that breath that was given to Adam. So, and that's, so it happened like one breath, it was like halfway. Now I've seen like pictures, and then this is coming out right now, but I've seen pictures of like consciousness, like the what do you call that, those cones there, that in the body, the light body, and just being half of it, and then you go complete. You know what I mean? Light energy. Anyways, I don't know what.
So yeah,
You know what I mean? Just half of it. If you're just half of it and then fully into it.
Okay.
So basically, I experienced that, the half of it and the whole of it. So, wow. So that's not in traditional any monotheistic religion.
No, it's an experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an experience, and that's in me. Like, nobody can take that away unless you hit me with a shovel or I lose my memory. I wouldn't want that. But anyways, but
Yeah,
like, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's the I am presence, isn't it? That's what I found anyway. It was like when I realized that we were just molecules dissolved into the I am presence of the consciousness, and that's all we were, just awareness and experience. That for me was the point where I'm done. I thought actually I was going to be let out at that stage. It's like, yeah, I know it's all a game. I'm just consciousness here, having 5 senses: see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. I'm just projected here. I'm not really here at all. All right, I've done it. Can I get out the game now? And I thought they'd perhaps open the curtains and go, well done, Sally. But no, still here.
Well, okay, when I arrived, because I traveled myself, like prior, back in 1985, okay, I traveled. I did this out of body travel, and I like, this was quite interesting, but I was like out of my body. Now I've understood, like, some describe this as lucid dreaming. So I was like up and down and up and down and up and down, and then woo, out. And I was with my, who I consider my first wife then, and like I said, okay, let's go, let's go. And like she got afraid. What are you doing? I was like, so I left alone, and then I'm traveling, and then I'm seeing these light rays, like, and like, but they're going like, it's like they're being sucked up, like whoa. And like from my high school physics and college physics, like that was like, oh, a black hole. And what I've been taught about a black hole is like you get sucked into it and that's it, right?
Mm.
You don't come out of it. Like it's just like sucks you in. So you know what I did?
What did you do?
I went in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't run away. I was curious. Ooh, that's a black hole. So I went in. And you know what I discovered?
What did you discover?
Well, if you think about it a bit, you'll discover it yourself. But do you want me to give away the answer, or you want to think about it?
Well, I have been in a place of nothingness. Is it similar to that?
No, that's not what I discovered. I didn't discover nothingness. I discovered presence. And I discovered, you know why it's a black hole? It's because the light is pointing inside.
Okay.
So I discovered I came into the presence of light. And that presence of light is not a blinding light, it's a soothing light, like the kind of light on the moon.
Mm.
So I felt like I could have died there. I could have died there, but I was afraid to die there because I said, geez, I hadn't gone into Islam. All my sins weren't forgiven. I said, I can't die now. But also I had a message.
Mm.
So not really okay, so you need to go into the dark. You're afraid because there's that fear of going into the dark, the fear of the dark. No, go, because that's where the light is. That's where the light is going. That's where the presence of light is.
That's so amazingly put. And I've never really considered that before when I went into that presence, which was not nothingness. It was, I didn't have to do anything, but all around me was just love. And that's what I felt, just pure bliss and pure relaxation. And for me, it was like I was nothingness because it made me I didn't matter. And that was just the most wonderful, liberating experience I ever had, that I just, everything, I could just let go of everything. And it was black. And I never really thought about it until you just said that was a presence of light, pure bliss. And yet it was all black. So that's very interesting because
that's very interesting because so you see, this speaks to me. You know what the image that I'm getting now? Kind of the yin and the yang.
Mm-hmm.
I lived it with the presence of light, and you lived it with the presence of dark. But yet the feelings that we experienced, that we had, are very similar, aren't they?
What's just come to me is a star in the sky. When the sky is all black and the star is the one shining, in actually the presence of my consciousness was the light, and all around me was the dark, that's very interesting. That's what's just come to me now, and that would make sense.
Can I interrupt you? Can I interrupt you on it?
Yep.
Because from what you just said, maybe I should, but you don't see a star in the black sky. What you see to begin with are planets. Planets become visible in the sky, like in that black sky, because you mentioned a black sky. So I'll say to you, Sally, what you're seeing is still within the solar system. You're not seeing beyond the solar system. So what you're seeing, that light that you're seeing, actually is a reflection.
That's true.
It's not a source.
Yeah. That's interesting. Even as consciousness in the dark, night sky, we are still reflecting the light. And yet the light comes from within us.
Yeah.
And shines
It,
out.
yes, it's there, but there needs to be this relationship between the in and the out and the in. Okay. Now, I'll tell you, who in history would be the travelers of night?
I don't know. I don't know what you're getting at.
Well, I'll tell you something. You know, like you talked about the needle and maybe Cleopatra's needle. I don't know. You didn't ever mention Cleopatra's needle, but you said the needle. And I'll say the camel.
Oh, yes. Do they travel at night? Do they? Because it's colder.
Yeah, it's not just because it's colder, because like in the day, the heat is like oppressive. It's like you're crushed by heat. You can't. You travel at night with the stars.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's very good. I never thought of that before. I've had a lot of things to say.
Neither had I. You have, like, I would say to you, you have a lot of bright thinking, of day thinking.
Well, my thinking comes from what I get. So, like I said, the camel has been coming to me, and I got the eye of the needle and Cleopatra's needle, and the information that's written on there, and I put it together with the camel and got the eye of the needle and Horus and all of that stuff. So basically, I'm just completely being given information, which is light.
Yes.
So that is why that it just flows through. The light comes from within, the DNA outwards.
Well, okay, so to add to what you're saying, okay, I love this conversation that we're having, okay, because it's I'm growing in consciousness myself, like exchanging with you, okay, so things are coming up. So you say that information is light, right? So I will say to you that light, okay, by speaking that light blue, there's that way, but then there's the written word, which requires reflection.
Right.
Okay, I prefer hearing right than left.
I'm just waiting. The written word, I said, the word is obviously used a lot, isn't it? So we have a script within us. Whether we want to follow it is up to us. But
if you read with the light within, with the Christ consciousness, and if there's one word that comes out of that message, and you know it, but you need to, what's that one word from that message that we, that's passed through the ages of Christ, that's associated to Christ?
Well, I would use the word love for all things.
So do I. So if you read with love within already, okay, well, those are really good glasses to read with.
Which is what the thank you for our daily bread is like. From our hearts, we read everything that comes in through spirit, everything that comes in through the world, everything that other people say. We don't judge it, we just love it and let it go.
So historically, like the Quran came after Jesus. Like you know what the big problem is in the Muslim world? That I've identified? Of course you don't. So let me tell you, okay?
Yeah.
So that book has been bounded, edited for 1400 years. There's something of the light, right? Now, you know what I discovered? Because that guy who said, okay, start reading from the end, right? Now, what does that mean? It's because in Arabic, here it is. In Arabic, oh, can you see it? Probably not. Okay.
It's invisible. Yeah. Mhm.
So this is the one I was given. Okay. So if I open up the book and I go to the end, actually it's the beginning, because in Arabic it's written from right to left.
Mm.
So if I open the book, I went to the back. He says, no, that's the beginning. What? He says, no. How's that? That's because I was ignorant to the fact that Arabic is written from right to left. He says, go to the back. I go to the back. He says, no, that's the front. What is that? Okay. So I did. So go to the back. But my logical mind, my Western mind, you know what it did?
What?
It went to the front. Why do you want me to start? Let's say there's 114 chapters. Why do you want me to start from 114? Doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so let's say there are 114. We call them surat chapters. The last one only has 3 lines. Okay, 3 ayahs, 3 signs. There's only 3. Whereas the first one, when you open the number 1, has 7. And number 2 has 284 or something like that, 284. And it's long and it's really whoa, whereas start from the back, 114 has 3 lines, 113 has, so it's really easy. And the subject matter is okay, nothing that aggresses the mind or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you start by the other end, okay, 1 is, I told you 1. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, Sirat alladhi an'amta alayhi, Ghayril maghdubi alayhi waladhdallin. That's the first one. Okay, that's the first one, and then the other one is there's stuff in there geez, that hit my mind. I just knocked my head. What is this stuff? It was not in continuity with what I had historically learned about Jesus. Where's the love in here? And then the other one, the third one, where, so I just shut the book. I said, this doesn't make sense to me. I shut the book. Where am I? And it's my friend with his name is Paul, by the way. And someone called him Paul II, but it's my friend Paul II, that with his concept, inspired from Trinity, and I'll call his tri-concept, that he identified, kept me in, because otherwise I was out. I shut the book. This doesn't make sense. And this doesn't make sense. My marriage doesn't make sense. Where am I? Kind of deal, But I discovered that book is not in order of time, of revelation. It's not set in chronology. And actually it's out of order. So you know what I say? You know what 1400 years of disorder does?
What?
Well, just take a look. Just look. I will give you the answer. Take a look. Take a look and see what's happening. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But they're stuck in it. They're stuck in the matrix, others are stuck in the other matrix, and the others are stuck in their matrix. Everybody's stuck in all of that stuff, Everybody's stuck. So I was fortunate enough to have this experience of sitting down, of okay, there's something here or there. I expanded out of that prison of monotheism. I expanded out. I experienced it out. But I had there's something because they were refusing to frame, there was things that weren't wrong. And then I discovered not so long ago all these 7 chakras. I didn't know there's 7 chakras. It makes sense to me now.
Because everything is energy, as we know.
Yeah, it's sitting down though. There's a problem. It's sitting down. If I'm going to let my light body, and my light body is my Merkaba, some say that, I've seen that, this is something that discovered. So the top one, have you ever seen like the Merkaba, the movement of the Merkabas? The Merkaba?
Yeah, I've just stuck this on there this morning. This the fact that the masculine is the pointing up and the feminine pointing down, and they come together to make the Merkaba, or Hierophant it's called, or the Star of David, and it's also called the Star of Remphan.
Yeah,
but there's also it's also been hijacked by the 10D matrix, phantom matrix. So
yeah, I think that's wrong. Okay, to me, like I like the thing is because, and that I'm using as a reference my friend Paul and his tool and the tri concept, and that's where I'm getting this is what I'm using as a reference. Okay, and you yourself, you mentioned like naturally the feminine gives birth, is the birth giver, isn't she?
yeah.
So this is, we're in nature. Okay, this is a natural society, a natural society that evolves and civilizes itself. Okay, society, and that natural society that civilizes itself, you know what that its future is?
Chaos.
Cult, not cult. Chaos, cult. There
Okay,
is no chaos.
order comes
There
out
is, pardon me?
order comes out of chaos, so people try to make order.
There's no
out of something.
chaos. That's bullshit. That's another. That's bullshit. Chaos is like the Big Bang. You know, it started. I mentioned before. It's just like an energetic principle.
Well, you perhaps attached a meaning to chaos, that the chaos itself is just a thing. There's no good or bad about it. It is chaos.
It's because you can't make sense of chaos. Like you say, it doesn't make sense. Like that's what it means. But it's not that there's
coming away from the one and then going back to the one, isn't it? So you've got, light, and then you've got darkness coming away from light, and then you've got the light as you go back.
Hold on, don't go too fast. Say that again slowly.
Oh, well, it's just the duality of opposing energies. You have to have order. If you have order, then you have to have chaos. Neither of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a problem because everything is there are laws behind all that. Like if I'm going to explode something, okay, that that could be the Big Bang or any explosion. You could say, oh, that's chaos. We could describe that as chaos, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, but that chaos, like that explosion, will happen within laws that you may not see, but they're governed. That chaos is governed by laws that are set already. Like there's gravity, maybe there's quantum, I don't know, but there are laws that regulate it. Like if you bring it back in, like you say, and you'll be able to recognize, like, I don't know, like there was a weakness, I don't know, but you'll be able to explain it according to physical laws, let's say. And so it may have the appearance of, but it's not.
So there's infinite possibilities, therefore there's a potential for going beyond laws.
Well, then, but if I'm talking to you about an explosion, I'm not telling you about an infinite possibilities. I'm talking about something in the past, maybe present or in the past. Of course, in the future, it's an infinite possibility, but you have to be able to observe it to say, okay, what it is. But until it moves, there's an infinite possibility. But whichever of those possibilities it explodes into, it's all going to be regulated by laws. Like, it all serves the purpose, like the good, the bad, it all serves the purpose. Like the chaos like I said, like, don't be afraid. Boo. Boo the fear, because it's serving. Like, he doesn't want to serve. Like, whoever the Enki and Lin and then this storyline, whoever opposes, I'm for a second this like the like this thing like opposing like his opposition, like, will have nothing. Will serve, despite him not wanting to serve. If that opposition doesn't want to, wants to be destructive, well, that big destructive force is going to serve, because that the creator of that big destructive force can handle him. So if we're dealing with that big destructive force, let's go to the creator of that, of all the forces.
Yeah, prime creator. And that prime creator is the middle line that goes between the two polarities, the duality between order and chaos. And then you've got the middle line, which is the right-hand path, the left-hand path, I think, and the middle line that goes, the middle gate, the narrow gate that the camel walks through, the eye of the needle, which is the awareness present, to be able to look right, to be able to look left, and just to keep going, stay focused on the path.
I get excited. You just got me excited with your explanation there. Okay, Sally, I'll ask you. So that line, right? Is that light, or is that our spirit? It's a line of what? What's that line?
Oneness.
Oneness, okay. So where's that blue flame?
So that is the blue flame.
Okay. So if I'm standing in my light body, what's on that line?
Well, that's your central pillar of light.
Aha, so we have light. Now, I just want to submit to you, okay, you have this vertical axis of light. It's good. It's good in the process. But in the finality, it needs to be not an axis of light. It needs to be an axis that is blue. Blue for you, blue for me. So it needs to be that, and that's twin flame. Is that blue? Is that what are the twin flames? What color is that?
Well, if we look at the threefold flame, you have the blue in the middle, so that makes sense. As far as the blue goes, you have well, let's have a look. So they've got the gold flame in the middle, but the red, gold, blue. That's interesting, isn't it?
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of that, like those snakes, like around the the doctor's symbol there.
Yeah,
the snake.
But well, it depends how you order them, right? Because it took me a while to figure out, without looking at anybody else's stuff, because I didn't look at anyone else's stuff to get all my information. But you could put the blue at the bottom, or then you do blue and gold twin, or the gold and blue twin. It's the same old thing as who came first, the Holy Mother or the Holy Father. And so even in the threefold flame, this is not represented as a scale. It's all one. So when you say what goes in the middle, it's difficult to say, because none of them can be there without each other. They all need each other. So in fact, when we say what's in the middle, is it the gold? Is it the blue? Is it the magenta? Is it the Holy Mother? Is it the Holy Father? Is it the oneness? It all needs each other. So it's just one. And I suppose it's just that, isn't it? It's the atom. It's all one, and you can't divide it and separate it. And if you do, then you have chaos.
Big bang.
Yeah, Big Bang. Which is as social as was in the beginning, so shall be in the end. That's where we're heading, right? So exciting time.
Well, the beginning, okay, if I was going to give it a color now, and I hold it in my heart, what would be that color for you? I have it, but what's the right color to give?
I can't tune into that right now.
Oh, it's green.
Not for me.
Okay, so if the green, that's what's given to me. Actually, I've been looking for green for a long time, but the green, I found the green also in my journey, and like the heart chakra. What color do they identify it?
Yeah, it's green, and it's the color of love, and it's the color of life. So it may be green.
It's a composition. Green is a composition. Sounds like a couple to me. Yellow and blue, blue and yellow.
Yeah, you're right there. So,
but I don't care if you put yellow or blue or yellow. You need both. It doesn't matter. Like the blueness or the yellowness doesn't matter which comes first. It needs to be together to be green.
Oh, that's so true. Actually, I'd never thought about that before, because that's the gold and blue ray. Like we're gold, I'm gold, and you're blue today.
Okay.
So if I'm the solar plexus energy, and you're the voice, the throat chakra,
yeah.
In the middle of that, between us, is a green line, and that's where the sacred masculine and sacred feminine meet.
Hold on a second there. You've shifted the solar plexus, because the solar plexus is below blue. So the heart. Green. Okay. So, okay. Blue here. Yeah. Okay. So we're in the middle.
Yeah. Blue, green.
No. Blue. Sorry. But blue, just a bit of fun here. But blue, light blue, dark blue, blue in the breath. Breath. The word is light. The blue becomes light. Jesus spoke. That's the gospel.
The word is God. The breath of life.
Ruh Allah in Arabic.
Yeah, it's the breath, but it needs all three energies.
Listen, it's
and maybe
unity. We're talking about unity. So in the Merkaba, the top part is the past, and it's spinning counterclockwise.
Maybe.
Well,
I mean, at the moment,
just turn. Do you have you've had a watch with like you can turn, like set back the clock or bring it forward?
Yes. Yep.
Well, I'll ask you, Sally, if I say turn back time, where is it going to go?
In the past.
Okay. So, and where are the needles going to turn?
Left. Anti-clockwise.
Anti-clockwise. Okay. So, and it's going. What is the number sequence going to be?
In reverse order.
Well, if we start at 12, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, something like that.
Yeah.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and then what's the other one?
Oh, I don't know what you mean there.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, do, and then you bring it back down. Like so. Now, what I'm telling you is that the past, if you're stuck in the past, you're counterclockwise.
Perhaps that's where we are then.
That's exactly where we are, and then where that portal, like this is like, that's what I was telling you, the bullshit about that sine wave. Okay, so it's there. Okay, it's there. You need to learn from it. Okay, You need to learn from it. But that thing, clockwise, if we're going to go clockwise, like it's not the age of Aquarius, like that, and that wave, it's okay. We need to get out of that. So you can choose. Everybody can choose depending on their level of consciousness. Where do you want to go? But the opportunity will come, and is coming. And then people are saying around the world, geez, it's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to. But they've been saying that for 2,000 years. But it's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. But like it feels like it's coming. You know, like so. It feels like we have, like globally, we have an awareness, a togetherness awareness of like of community, not really a good community, but like we've been in this. So this common awareness has grown, you know, on the whole of the earth. Yeah. Day and night, night and day. It's not a flat earth. The earth is not flat. And some people were burnt to the stake for saying that it wasn't, but it wasn't. And we know the institution that did that. And so, like, I've put everything into question myself. And from being completely ignorant, ended up giving a conference, part of a conference at the University of Montreal, the Faculty of Theology, speaking about the Quran. And you know what I told them?
What did you tell them?
You don't know. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
I said, I began the conference by telling them that I was pregnant.
That would have got their attention, no doubt.
Yeah, well, they, especially like on the Christian side, because there were Muslims also, because it was Christians and Muslims. Okay, it was the University of Montreal is a university that was founded by the Catholic Church, and there was a Jesuit priest who was a professor of the Faculty of Theology who was presenting. It was like history and sacred books. Okay, so. And the historicity of the sacred books, how the sacred books evolved, and wanting to bring to light, because in the Islamic faith, like nothing has changed. Okay, it's set, nothing has changed, and so like there's this movement trying to push, like no, it's changing, like anyway. So infighting, but I had nothing to do with it myself. I said, yeah, I'm pregnant, and then I told them, I said, I did nothing for it to happen. So it was like quite funny. But basically what I told them is I was pregnant of a book. And the book that I was pregnant was the Quran. And then I explained that there were 3 Qurans. One in the heart that was downloaded, if you will, to Muhammad in the heart over a period of 23 years. And then there was the historical Quran. The Quran that religion is built upon, okay, and that's 14 that sets the memory, okay, it's a blueprint for memory. And then there's the one that I was going to give birth to, which is the chronological Quran, because the Quran, as it's been set 1400 years ago, is not in order, and so you cannot penetrate the Quran. You hit a wall. It doesn't make sense. So it's good for memory. Okay, it's good for memory. It worked for memory. It served its purpose. That's perfect. But now for the imagination, because that's a book of revelation. Revelation will come and hit in your imagination. You'll say, wow, I never thought of that. Wow. That's where revelation comes in, not in the memory. Oh, I remember that. Or I remember that. No, revelation comes in like through the imagination, beyond the imagination. That's revelation. So they're approaching, like they've been approaching the book, but they've been approaching the book through memory. No, you need to approach it the other way.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. It all makes sense.
I was talking about yesterday with the experience of the oneness is what we require rather than reciting passages, and but then it's all an ascension process, isn't it, where most people are still at 2-strand DNA, and therefore they need to recover all that activate all of those other strands of DNA to get memories back and remember the oneness of everything. And yeah, until that happens, we're just a society living separate and judging each other. So it's been
144, Sally.
Is it? It's 144. What is 144?
Well, the 144,000, like the people who have an understanding of this, who have done that personal work, like you've done, right? Like
There
I've
are
done.
a lot
Like,
of us who have.
yeah, we need to come together. Like we need to come together, and we need to accompany the others, and be guiding them through this, and with love, right?
Well, this is the whole point of just coming together, having a conversation, but instead of just having the conversation offline, we do it online and stick it on YouTube and leave it there, and anyone who wants to see it can see it. So that's how we work, isn't it? And just help, like you say at the beginning, it's just help to share and expand consciousness for anybody who is guided to watch it. So that's what we've done today. So I have to draw this to a close now because we've been on here a long time.
How long have we been?
2 hours and 21 minutes. Oh, well, should we just do the extra 40 seconds and make it a 222?
That would be perfect. It was meant to be.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay, well, thanks for the conversation. It's been fun as always and interesting and mind expanding. So thanks for everybody who watched and took part in the future, in the past, and in the present.
It's all one, all the past, all the future in presence.
It's all oneness, all for the one. All right. Well, thanks very much for the chat, and
thank you.
And remember that we do this in love, because love, light, truth is all. Take care, Charles. Take care, everybody. Bye.